Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Hope everybody's doing okay this week. The weather's been mild to a little bit cold for this time of the year here in Maine, but it's it's okay, I guess. That a lot of people are getting kind of annoyed that they still got to wear a jacket going outside and everything, but it is what it is. I was talking to an employee over at Texas Roadhouse here this afternoon, and she's looking for a new apartment to move into because she just got married, and the place that she's at is too small because they want to eventually have kids or something, and what they got is basically a one-bedroom apartment. So they're looking around, and one of the places that she told me about that surprised the hell out of me is in the town of Milford, which is about 8 miles from here. A small town. It's not really like super, very small like Veazey, but it's away from Bangor mostly. And they just built a new apartment complex over there, and I know which one it is because I remember when they were building it. And they had a space available, which she went and saw, and she said that the apartment there, well, it had 2 bedrooms, but the apartment overall was smaller than where they are now. Okay, and she said the rent would be $1,600 a month plus $50 extra a month for how many pets she has. So she has 2 cats, so that's like $100 extra on top of the rent. She didn't like that. She also didn't like the idea that they didn't have a washer dryer hookup, which is something she wanted. So she didn't, didn't like that either. But she said it was new. Everything looked perfect inside and all that. And I'm thinking, well, I remember they built those apartments quite a while back. I mean, they might be new technically, but they've been there for about, 5 or 6 years. And she, just didn't like that, the price and all that and everything. So she said, turn them down. And I'm thinking, I'm paying that here. Okay, and I got a much bigger place than what they're asking over there. Okay, and I'm thinking, I just think to all the people out right now that are renters, not many people are willing to put themselves in the hole for a fucking house that they're going to spend 35 plus years paying on. Okay, I mean, you get a house, you're committed to that fucking thing. That mortgage, and whatever happens to that house, it's your responsibility. You got to take care of it. You got to do your own maintenance, okay? Because you probably won't be able to afford to hire out help to fix things like the roof or leaks or windows and stuff. Okay, all that stuff you're going to have to pay out of pocket on top of the property taxes, which are very high in this state. And Maine is like the 3rd highest tax state in the country, believe it or not. And we ain't got nothing in this state. There's no big cities here, You ain't got no New York City or Los Angeles or San Diego. We don't have big cities like that in the States. So why are we being taxed so fucking high? Okay. But yeah, I mean, it's expensive here. And, you know, and of course, it's expensive everywhere right now. Not just in Maine, but in all the rest of the country. You know, because of things going on, you know. And so I found this article here while I was thinking about that. It's from the Independent UK news outfit, okay. And it's entitled, it's written by Bruce Golding, says, more than half of Americans say the cost of living is worse under Trump than at any other point in their lives. Okay. A majority of Americans now say the cost of living is the worst they can remember, and most of them blame President Trump for their predicament. Poll results published Friday by Politico showed 53% of those surveyed couldn't recall struggling harder to make ends meet, up from 46% since last November. The poll by Public First also found 46% felt Trump was fully or mostly responsible for the state of the economy, unchanged from 6 months ago. That's not good. Veteran Republican communications strategist Kevin Madden told Politico that Trump, quote, faces a similar predicament, unquote, to that of his predecessor, President Biden, when Americans watch pandemic-related inflation steadily increase despite administration assurance it would be transitory. Quote, as prices rise due to tariff and trade policies and global conflict, the response that it's a hoax or not true is just a very discordant message given that so many voters are feeling a budget pinch right now, unquote, Madden said. In a statement to The Independent, White House Senior Deputy Press Secretary Kush Desai said, quote, while the president has been clear about short-term disruptions as a result of Operation Epic Fury, the administration remains focused on implementing the proven Trump agenda of tax cuts, deregulation, and energy abundance to keep America on a solid economic trajectory. Proven agenda? Really? Does anyone see any proof of his agenda actually manifesting itself into some better times? I think, you know, he needs to choose his words wisely here, because I don't think anything has been proven to work. Quote, once the Iranian terror threat is neutralized and traffic in the Strait of Hormuz normalizes, Americans will again see gas prices plummet, real wages grow, inflation cool, and trillions in investment pour in, unquote, he added. No. How many of you people have ever seen prices go down in your life from where they were? Okay, when prices go up, generally they stay high. All right? And even if we get a new president next time around, we're going to be dealing with the fallout from what he's done here these last, you know, year and a half here and going further. Okay, we're going to be dealing with this for a long time afterwards. And so I just don't see that, you know, there's going to be any fucking relief coming our way anytime soon, you know, despite what Trump or people in his cabal say. I really don't believe that. The damage is severe to what's been, you know, what's been done. In a statement to The Independent, White House Secretary Kush Desai said, well, the president has been clear about, okay, well, I just read that, I'm sorry. They say short-term disruptions. Has it been short enough for you? Okay, the latest political poll found that 79% of Americans reported that gas prices had risen somewhat or greatly since Trump took office last year, with 77% saying food was also more expensive and 62% saying the same about medicine. See, medicine's always an issue with this country. The online poll of 2,065 adults was conducted from May 9th to 11th before Trump stunningly said, quote, I don't think about Americans' financial situation, unquote, when a reporter asked him if it was motivating him to make a deal to end the Iran war. quote, I think about one thing. We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon, that's all, unquote, he said. Well, I got news for everybody. Iran didn't have one. Okay? They didn't have one. And they made an agreement that they would never make one. But that wasn't enough for Trump. He went ahead and started a fight with them anyway. Okay? Trump later then defended his May 12th remark as a, quote, perfect statement, unquote, and said, quote, I'd make it again, unquote. Yeah, I'm sure he would. The poll also found 58% of Americans felt Trump hasn't done enough to protect the country from the economic impact of the Iran war, compared to 25% who said he has. Those who said they voted for Trump in 24 were evenly divided, 43% to 43%, while supporters of his rival, Vice President Harris, split 79% to 14% against the president's efforts. And a 42% plurality of Trump voters said the U.S. should continue to continue the conflict even if it pushes prices higher, compared to just 11% of Harris voters and 22% overall. A Republican strategist based in Florida told Politico that GOP prospects in the upcoming midterm elections could hinge on the price of gas because it's, quote, so intricate in the notion of affordability. Quote, you're damn right it is, because everything hinges on the price of gas, what you're paying at the grocery store and anywhere else. Quote, if you can get the gas prices back to pre-conflict levels and the people in those 16 to 18 House districts that are going to decide this race are feeling good in 3 or 4 states, then you're in a much better shape than a lot of people think, unquote, the strategist said. Okay. All right. So, I know people out there would probably argue that the stock market doing well and all that stuff right now. But here's the thing. The stock market really only reflects how the wealthy are doing in this country, okay? That's who's really playing that game, really. I mean, because the rest of us, we don't have the money to spend in something like that. I mean, and if we lose everything. The wealthy, they can play the stock market, invest big into it, and if they lose, they don't lose everything. You know what I'm saying? So the stock market is really just a mirror for the upper echelons of the economy, for the people that are wealthy in this country and how they're doing. If the poor, the rest of us, the working class, had a stock market, it would have gone bankrupt. Okay, it would have just disappeared. Okay, and right now, it would, if we had one, it would reflect that there's very, very little hope out there. There wouldn't be much movement of buying anything. Okay, it would just be terrible. And you know, that's the thing is, you know, maybe that's part of the reason why so many people have this lopsided view of the country, economically speaking, is because they look at the stock market and they equate the health of the entire country based on what's happening on Wall Street. They don't remember that, hey, only the wealthy play that fucking game. Okay, they're the only ones playing that, and what they're doing doesn't affect, their stability in buying things. Okay, but it does affect us and our ability to buy things. Okay, their intention by playing the stock market is to gain money, and like someone had pointed out to me, they've sucked out as much as they can already from us, and they're continuing to take away the basics from us to give the stockholders more money. You see what I'm saying? They're taking out of our wallets to line their wallets. And, you know, if you're saying, well, that's not fair, you're right, it isn't fair. But fairness plays very little in reality, doesn't it? I mean, we can all hope that people would be smart enough not to take advantage of other people on such a tremendous scale as it's being done to us now. But apparently, you know, these people, the filthy rich, the wicked, if you want to call them, they've gained quite a hold here on the country, and now they're doing everything their way, and they don't care about what you, me, your friends, your family, your neighbors. They don't care about how that's affecting their ability to go out and get an apartment, okay, or to get a car. Because when people can't live in a place and they can't drive anywhere, what good is the fucking what good is your access to employees? I mean, these people can't work. All right, you're actually crippling yourself, your company, by kicking the legs out from under your potential customers, because now they can't afford anything. Okay, I mean, people are buying gas, sure, but a lot of people are buying only what they need to get through the week, if they can. Okay, so let's just say $20 a week. That means, well, if the gas prices go up $20, if you still get $20 a week for your gas, you're only going to be able to drive so far, you know, and that's it. So that means you got to pick where you're going to go, and make sure it's a, you know, that you do whatever you need to do, get it all done in this one go to wherever you're going. Okay, you got to think ahead. For some people, that $20 may not be enough a week, because they have to drive further to get to their job. Now, what happens if these people working somewhere can't afford to make that travel back and forth? What are they going to do? I imagine there's a lot of people out there in that position right now. They're thinking, you know, I got to drive 30 minutes every day to get to my job, and what I'm getting there barely covers the cost of fucking fuel. Okay, and it leaves me very small left over for food and whatever else bills I got to pay. Now, you see what I'm saying? Do you think the wealthy are thinking about that whenever they're sitting here demanding that we have better profits and all this stuff, you know, for them? I mean, of course not. I mean, why do you think they're pushing AI so hard right now? Because they know that it's going to get harder for people to actually get jobs. And so they're going to fill in the gaps with AI. And eventually, when they see how that works out, they're going to get rid of more jobs, figuring, well, it don't cost us as much to hire somebody. We'll just put AI here, AI there, you know. So they're actually creating the environment of taking away more jobs by trying to be more, by streamlining their companies, okay, so they can make more profit. Well, what happens when you reach a peak where there's no more money to be had because nobody's buying anything? What are you going to do then? You see what I'm saying? A business is supposed to be a circular thing where it takes in money and it invests money back. It's supposed to be a wheel. Now it's just become linear, where everything is flowing in one direction, profit. That's it. They don't want to give back by hiring anybody and create that wheel again. It's all just one fucking line to profit. Well, once they reach the end of that line, people, they've got nothing left. They got no customers. They got no revenue coming in. What's the stock market going to do then? It's going to crash. That's what's going to happen. It's just going to, because everything comes to a screeching halt. Now, a lot of people are already saying we're coming to breaking the bubble on a lot of things. Okay, there's a lot of stuff that's coming to that point right now, and it's being sped up because of what Trump's been doing. Okay, and you know, the next president coming in may have to come in during a depression in order to fix it. You know, look how long it took to get us out of it the first time. It's probably going to be a bigger scale. And it's not just going to affect the United States. It's going to affect other countries in the world, you know. So, you know, like I said, this is something that we have to think about seriously and put aside our goddamn political, you know, gamesmanship here, okay? We need to stop putting partisan in the way here, you know, party first, or whatever you want to call it. We got to start thinking like Americans. We got to start thinking about what our government is doing to us as an American. Is it helping us or is it killing us? And I think a lot of you people would answer, you know, that it's not helping us. You know, we are being set up to be victims by a government that has become tyrannical, you know, by all accounts. And you know, it's trying to, you know, I don't know what it's trying to do, to be honest. With Trump, you don't know what his fucking end result is. I think the whole thing with Trump is he's just in it just to get revenge. Okay, he wants to tear the country down. All right, that means he doesn't have to try. He doesn't have to do anything good. All he's going to do is keep spending, which is what he's been doing. He's dipped into the treasury so much now, I don't know if there's anything left in there. You know, whatever tax money that government's getting, it's going to be in a deficit, you know, because Trump's spending the money faster than it's coming in. And, you know, if we had a Congress that had some balls and put a stop to that, you know, maybe, things wouldn't be as bleak as it looks right now as far as, I mean, they'll be responsible. Congress will be responsible for a market crash, Wall Street bringing us into a depression, simply because they didn't stop the president when they should have, okay? A lot of Republicans are starting to come to that realization now, but, you know, it's too little too late as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, there's a lot of, especially the extreme right wing, there's a lot finally coming to the realization that, you know, they've given Trump way too much leeway to do things, and he's not doing anything that he promised he was going to do, and a lot of people are resentful of him for that, which is why his approval numbers are the lowest in history. Okay, that's the reason why he's struggling, trying to convince people that what he's doing is going to help us. Nobody's believing him now, and that's the way it should be, because he's been lying to us since day one. Okay, he was lying to us the first time he was president. We should have learned our lesson from that. He's doing it again, only this time the damage is going to be, almost irreversible, and it's going to linger worse than the first time he was president. Anyway, let's go to a commercial break, and I will have a video to play here on the other side. So let's go to the break.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Roxy Sugar, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
Husband came under attack today when he said, the Democrats are, perhaps going to nominate their first transgender Senate candidate, talking about Tallarico, and they responded by just, basically saying, "Shut up, you ugly F word," essentially. Any word for the Democrats, their little Twitter account.
This is the same violent political rhetoric that is leading people to shooting up, whether it be the White House Correspondents' Dinner or President Trump and Butler. But what it remains to be seen is this is an anonymous account, and it is run actually by a sad liberal woman named Paulina, which is why Pew says 50% of liberal women at some time have identified that they have a mental health disorder, and she is certainly one of them. What a sad state for the pathetic Democrat Party.
Oh, Katie, and that long, nonsensical attack and rant on the woman who runs the Democrats' Twitter page, you said everything. Except that she's a liar. Because she can't. It is not true. My husband is a very attractive man. For someone who lies for a living, you couldn't even bring yourself to lie about that, could you? I think my favorite part in that entire thing, though, is when she said, this is the kind of violent rhetoric that leads to the attacks that we have seen, like at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Trust me when I say this, Katie, out of all the heinous and disgusting things your husband has said and done, the fact that he is busted is one of the least likely things to bring on violence. It actually makes us feel sorry for him. And you, Katie, I actually feel sorry for you. I pity you. Because I think of all the things that you have had to sacrifice being married to someone like Stephen Miller, your integrity, having good morals, not being able to eat dinner that has garlic in it, or sleeping, standing up like this. I mean, it is a sacrifice. But it didn't end there. Paulina clapped back at Katie Miller, who said, oh, you're just single and unhappy in your 30s, by saying, well, now seems like a good time to share that I'm getting married. We just put down the deposit on the venue and bought my dress. I didn't end up picking this one, but I thought it looked nice. To which Katie Miller said, getting married to an illegal alien for a green card doesn't count. Which would have been a great burn if you were married to an actual alien. The minimal amount of photoshopping this took. It's become so laughable to watch all these women who are married to prominent MAGA figures compete with each other as if it's some reality TV show like America's Next Top Ava Braun. And this Defend My Man tour that you're doing, Katie, just put you in the running for first place. Anyways, bye!
Donald Trump and Iran, it looks to me like he is desperate to get out of this with any kind of victory that he can. But at the moment, Iran is just not playing ball and has managed to work out that the control of the Strait of Hormuz is all they really need to do to string this out as long as they like and cause enormous damage. What should Trump be doing, do you think?
Get out. Just get out. And what you can see, Piers, is he knows that. He knows that. But the Iranians know it too. And they won't just bend the knee. And Trump is not used to being in this position. He's used to bullying his way out of everything. And these guys cannot be bullied. And he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree. Megyn Kelly, always brilliant to have you.
The world is getting pretty tired of us Americans. The United States has caused so many problems worldwide over the last century. The Great Depression, for example, started in the United States and affected the entire world. Now, granted, it wasn't the US alone that caused the world to collapse, but it did play a pivotal part and was the spark that ignited it all. And of course, this Great Depression, which affected nations like Germany the most, led to certain people getting in power, which led to the greatest conflict in human history. The 2008 stock market crash caused by the housing bubble. That one, very much so, was caused by the United States and affected the entire world. The entire world had to pay for the greed of American banks. People in nations that Americans had probably never heard of lost their jobs because of American greed. Then there's the wars, the war in Vietnam, the war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan. These all caused issues for nations all around the world. And in many cases, the pursuits of these wars were not well thought out and did not have great outcomes. And then, of course, more recently, the American war in Iran. something that has already caused instability around the world. The closure of the Strait of Hormuz due to the Americans attacking Iran has had a massive effect on the price of oil, which of course has caused fuel prices to skyrocket all over the world. And sorry to be that guy, I'm really grateful right now that I own an electric car. But the point is that once again, the world is paying for the dumb decisions of American leaders. And the world is getting pretty tired of it. This is why so many nations are choosing to trade with other countries that have been more stable and trustworthy, like China, a nation that is not threatening them with tariffs and not causing endless wars. This is also why there is a large group of powerful countries that are currently trying to replace the American dollar as the standard for the world economy. And as an American, I wish that some of these Americans that think all of this is okay would have an ounce of self-awareness. The United States did not become a superpower by itself. And as it pushes its allies away, it will soon discover that it will not remain a superpower forever.
DoorDash Girl, the sneaky spy who brings the fries.
She delivers, she discovers, snap and share it all.
Press the crash out button and... I'm the victim! DoorDash Girl, the villain next door.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it. It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. All right, so I have a video from Kyle Kulinski, who kind of breaks down a lot of what's going on, some of what I said, plus other things internationally that's playing into what's going on. But you know, he gives you a much wider view of the battle damage, basically, from what Trump's done. And you know, the information that he's getting is showing that a lot of people don't have a whole lot of hope there for, you know, in the near future here for what's going to happen if nobody reels in Trump in his administration and does something here to put a stop to the shit he's doing. So let's go to that video here, and then we'll come back and close out the video here.
Everybody out there is having a great day. Prepare yourselves, because we are all over the map today. In just a second, it is getting really, really bad out there. I mean, the economy is falling apart. MAGA's numbers are like at historic lows, numbers I've never seen before covering U.S. politics. So we'll dive into that. We also have Joe Rogan's friends are completely and utterly done with Donald Trump and MAGA, and it's now getting awkward because Rogan himself is still not only pro-Trump and pro-MAGA, I mean, he's like one of the insiders. He's in the club. He's having phone calls with Trump and texting Trump and all this stuff. So got a lot to talk about there. We also have a new Trump scheme is unveiled. He's effectively trying to invade Bolivia. He's trying to invade Bolivia, and now we have massive protests that are erupting. He wants to go after the former left-wing president of Bolivia, Evo Morales. We'll talk about that. Christian nationalists have also totally lost their minds. I have some wild clips to show you, and we have a severe Ebola outbreak that's exploding as Trump is failing miserably at basic containment. And as you all know, we have the world's biggest junk science peddler is now in control of Health and Human Services in the U.S. That's RFK Jr. And we pulled out of the World Health Organization. So it is an absolute mess if I've ever seen one, y'all. So you guys know the deal, man. Everybody do me a big favor and subscribe to the channel and click that bell icon. That helps out the show big time and costs you nothing at all. You, of course, can support the show on Patreon as well. Remember, y'all, this is real independent media. I've never talked to an advertiser. I've never done an ad read. I never will do an ad read. But we are reliant on the default ads on YouTube and then also your $2 a month donations, $5 a month donations. Those go a very long way. It goes a long way if you tip $5 or $10 on YouTube. So thank you to everybody who does do that. You could also sign up for Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. That link is below. And go sub to Corin's World so you can come hang out with us on Monday nights live. We have a great time over there. You definitely don't want to miss that either. All right, let's go ahead and jump right in. So let's start with this, man. These numbers, bro, they just somehow keep getting worse. And honestly, we're at the point now where, I don't know. Can it get lower? Is it possible to get lower? If it does get lower, I think we actually are talking about, world records here. So let's start with Trump's numbers when it comes to Hispanics and look at this utter catastrophe that MAGA is dealing with.
Yeah, where are we now? What a different world. Oy vey if I'm the president of the United States, because just take a look here. Okay, Latino voters on Trump. He won a record share for a Republican presidential nominee, 46% of that vote, going all the way back since we had the advent of exit polls back in 1972. And look at where he is today. His job approval rating in an average of CNN polls this year, 28%. That is an 18-point drop. The bottom has completely fallen out when it comes to Donald Trump and Latino voters. He won record numbers of them back in 2024.
Let me just pause to point out, he won record numbers of them for a Republican in modern history, right? That's what that 46 number is. Now he's at 28 skis, y'all. 28.
They have abandoned him with the utmost just dislike of what he is doing so far. Just 28%, a drop of 18 points.
Now, among Latinos, it was Latino men who were driving this movement toward him in 2024. Where are they now?
Yeah, you think that this movement is a lot? What about Latino men? Oh, my goodness gracious. Okay, Latino male voters. In the 2024 election versus Kamala Harris, look at this. Trump won him by 10 points. Look at the net approval rating now, minus 41 points. That is a movement of 51 points, a shift away from the president of the United States. Latino male voters supercharged that record performance that Donald Trump had with Latino voters, and they, like Latino women, Latinas, are moving against the president of the United States, minus 41 points. Again, the bottom has just completely fallen out. And of course, when you look across that political map, there are so many races that will be involving a lot of Latino voters. And when you see numbers like this, I just go, uh-oh, if I am a Republican running for Congress.
Bro, let me tell you right now, and somebody said this on Twitter, I thought it was exactly right. This is going to be wild because the numbers coming in Texas in the midterms, this could be a bloodbath for Republicans because there's a lot of Latinos in Texas. And, then you have to start to fear not only Trump trying to rig the midterms, but also Greg Abbott is a fucking psychopath. The right-wing governor Hot Wheels in Texas, he's a psycho. And I wouldn't for a second put it by him to send the Texas National Guard and make some false claim of fraud and basically try to steal it in Texas because these numbers are apocalyptic. It's stuff like this that got Trump over the hump in 2024. And now all of those groups are gonzo. Independents are totally gone. Latinos are totally gone. Young voters are totally gone. Independents, oh my God, independents have, ran away at 1,000 miles an hour. I mean, it is astonishing. They all turned into Usain Bolt or Gout, okay? It is crazy what we're witnessing here. A drop of 51 points.
Talk about one of those races in just a moment, but wait, there's more before that, which is, look, this new CNN poll this week talked about just how people have enormous concerns about the economy and enormous disapproval of the president on it. What are Latinos saying about that?
Yeah, okay, I'm going to take 2 for 1 here. It's a 2 for 1 special here on a Friday, or mid-Friday morning, I guess. Latino voters on Trump and the economy. Look, one of the big reasons why Donald Trump put in that record performance with Latinos back in 2024 was because the issue of the economy. They trusted Donald Trump by a 3-point 50-point margin against Kamala Harris. But look at his net approval rating on the economy now. Oh, yeah, Johnny B said it best over there. Look at that. Minus 46 points. That's, again, another near 50-point movement against the President of the United States on the number one issue. No wonder the bottom has fallen out with Latino voters and Latino men in particular. And you're talking about one of those races, right, Johnny B? One of those races. Why don't we go to Texas, right? The chance that the Dems win the Texas Senate race. Of course, James Tallarico going to be that Democratic nominee. Look at this. In January, look at this. He had a 19% chance of winning. Look at where we are now. A 45% chance of winning. That number is up through the roof. And part of the reason that number is up through the roof is because a lot of Latino voters turn against President Trump. And it could be that they turn against Republican nominees for Congress and for the United States Senate in particular.
Damn, son. We also have this national poll by CBS. Trump's approval rating, 37%. Disapproval, 63%. In the CBS poll, this is the lowest second-term approval that he's had. Remember, guys, CBS is now a hack organization run by Barry Weiss, owned by the Ellisons. Zionist MAGA hacks is what they are. Even in their poll, 37% support for Trump. Trump's net approval on key issues. On immigration, minus 14. Iran, minus 32. That's a new low. Economy, minus 34. A new low. Inflation, minus 46. That's a new low. So Trump's overall approval of inflation is down at 27%. Okay? I told you guys, I'm waiting for that 29%, 28% banger for a national poll, a national approval rating. But the fact of the matter is, we've actually seen it already and then some when it comes to specific issues like inflation. He is about to get clobbered, y'all. Clobbered. Okay, CBS YouGov poll. Is your income keeping up with inflation? Yes, it is. 23%. Only 23%. Only 29% say the U.S. economy is good. Only 29% say that. These are astonishingly low numbers, okay? Still not done, though. Trump approval trends among white, non-college voters. For those of you who don't know, this is the Republican bread and butter. This is like your day ones. These are the ones that hold you down, man. Like, this is like, if you lose them, you lost everything. It's like losing white evangelicals as a Republican. Ready? So, the approval was 68% in February. That's plus 36. The approval now, 40. So he's a -8 with a group which is like his most hardcore demographic group that follows him and goes wherever the fuck he wants them to go. That is devastating, man. Devastating. All right. Net approval trends. Ready? Among independents in February of 2025, Trump was -2. Then he goes to -26 in September, -38 in March, and now -46 in May. Holy shit. Among young people ages 18 to 29, in February of 2025, he was +10. As of now, in May of 2026, he's -42. That's a 52-point swing, y'all. That's a 52-point swing among young people. That is, these are numbers you can't come back from numbers like this. Even if you were to reverse everything he's doing and inflation were to get under control immediately, just the fact that people were put through what they've already been put through is enough for them to be like, fuck you, kick the bums to the curb. All right, Scott McFarland says, rancid numbers and trajectory in an election year. Feelings about personal finances. Concerned, 76% now. It was 72% in May of 2025. Stressed, 67%. It was 65% in May. Secure, 44%. Back in the day, in May of 2025, it was 53% were secure, nearly a 10-point drop in people feeling secure in their finances. Content, only 43% say content, 53% said that in May of 2025. Then we get to the real nuts and bolts of the conversation, y'all. How the economy, bro, like people are still underestimating just how bad this current moment is and just how ugly it's going to get. So let me walk you through some of that here. Quote, we're facing the largest supply shortage of lubricating fluids in the modern history of America. Realistic middle-of-the-road estimates are for our average available supply in this product category to drop by 40%. It's an internal AutoZone memo, which is basically saying like, hey, bro, we're kind of running out of this thing known as motor oil. Like, what? Yes. Understand something, guys. We had an oil shock that wasn't as severe as this one that happened in the 1970s. That led to rationing. That led to, hey, if your license plate ends with an odd number, you can only get gas on these particular days of the week. If it ends in an even number, you can only get gas on these other particular days of the week. They were rationing. There are 80 countries already that put into place emergency measures to try to conserve energy. 80 countries already did that. Where are the fucking idiots who are like, we don't give a fuck, bro. We're going to ride the Titanic right into that motherfucking iceberg. We're going to ride the ship right into the rocks. So they're acting like there is no problem here, but there's a massive problem. And you already see gas is already near $5 a gallon, which also is an input for every other element of the economy. So what are you going to look at? Are you going to look at grocery prices that skyrocket even more? Are you going to look at shortages in some place, for example, because the trucking to get the food to rural communities, it's not worth it for companies to do it, so nobody takes the contracts? Again, people are not truly factoring in how ugly this can get, okay? And when AutoZone is telling you, by the way, we have a 40% drop in having fucking motor oil, that should be a little bit of a wake-up call to everybody, shouldn't it? ABC News says grocery prices in the U.S. soared faster in April than any month in nearly 4 years, driving up the cost of everything, from frankfurters to tomatoes to cupcakes, according to government data. Holy cow. Then we also have this. Senator Peter Welch says, the Trump administration is essentially banning wind projects on private land. Energy prices are higher than ever right now. Why would President Trump actively work against lowering energy bills? I'll answer that question. It's either because he's a Manchurian candidate and he's trying to destroy this country, or he's the dumbest person to ever sit in the White House. There's your answer, Senator Peter Welch. But yes, Canary Media points out, it's a de facto moratorium on wind power in the U.S. More than 250 wind projects on private land are stalled now that the Defense Department has halted once routine reviews. So stop and think about that. Not only are there no more public wind projects, there are no private wind projects either. So at the same time, Trump is creating an oil crisis, a gas crisis, this massive energy shock. He's also saying, you're not allowed to do solar power, you're not allowed to do wind power, you're not allowed to do renewable technologies. It is literally the dumbest thing you could ever imagine, trying to actively handcuff this country. By the way, as other countries are now speeding up their investment in renewable and green technology, we are stuck. It's basically like we're doubling down on the horse and buggy at the same time the automobile was just released. That's what we're doing. We're doubling down on the Morse code machine at the same time the telephone just came around. That's what Trump is doing. That's how fucking stupid this disgusting, gelatinous, pedophile, rapist, con man criminal is. Every decision is wrong. Like, literally every decision is wrong and stupid and dumb. All right, how about this? As family homelessness hits record highs, school districts are offering parking lots as safe sites for students and their families to sleep at night. Ladies and gentlemen, Elon Musk is projected to become a trillionaire in the near future. Let me repeat that. Elon Musk is projected to become a trillionaire in the near future, as family homelessness is hitting a record high and people are sleeping in school parking lots. This is a broken system. This is a broken economy. But you know what? Maybe it's not. Maybe this is exactly how capitalism functions. Maybe the answer is to tax the fuck out of the billionaires and soon to be trillionaires and take that money and you redistribute and you give people housing, you give people education, you give people healthcare, you give people a chance at a decent life. Right now, the income and wealth inequality is worse than during the fucking Gilded Age, and we're all sitting around with our thumbs up our asses like there's nothing we can do about it. There's a lot we can do about it. And guess what? The Trump crime family, the criminal regime, they're in the midst of kicking 18 million people off Medicaid and tripling your health insurance premium. They're actively making your life harder every single step of the way. People are homeless, and the billionaires are getting richer and richer and richer, and they don't give a fuck about you. If anything, they're trying to make it so you lose whatever job you do have, because they want AI to completely and utterly take over. So then we also have this. The Trump-Vance administration has quietly lifted restrictions on M44 cyanide traps. These are essentially cyanide bombs that indiscriminately kill anyone or anything that interacts with them, not just pests. In one case, the Department of Agriculture planted a bomb near the home of an Idaho family. The 14-year-old boy and his dog found it and accidentally triggered it. It killed his dog and severely injured him. Biden's Bureau of Land Management banned their use in 2023. The Trump-Vance administration is bringing them back. You could not dream up a more cartoonishly evil White House than this, and the icing on the cake is how it has integrated themes like protecting the homeland into its propaganda when it is quite literally poisoning the homeland in more ways than one. So there's an article on it right here. Trump administration lifts ban on cyanide bombs that kill animals. Okay, but that's not it though. The Trump administration is repealing a rule that prevents power plants from releasing hundreds of millions of gallons of toxic mercury and arsenic into drinking water. They are quite literally green-lighting the poisoning of our drinking water, ladies and gentlemen. We have rolled the clock back to a primitive system of government. This is an anarcho-capitalist regime. It's actually anarcho-capitalism for you, socialism for the rich. Give the rich all the money, let them loot and pillage, let them rob the taxpayers relentlessly, endlessly, give them tax cuts, give them subsidies. But when it comes to regular people, your water is going to get poisoned by these companies, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's what they're doing. So as all this is going on, Trump sat down for an interview with Fox News' Bret Baier, and he's asked, like, hey, here's some MAGA voters that say they're struggling with this economy. What would you say to them, sir? And look at Trump's reaction.
When you hear Trump voters, Alex says, I voted for you 3 times. He can't handle the costs. And he's not for this foreign conflict.
I hate it, bro.
He's not for the foreign conflict. But Roy in Pennsylvania, he's a retired farmer. He can't handle the fuel going up. And he says
it's going to come down very fast.
And
well,
so,
look, I'm disappointed.
I'm just telling you what they say.
When you say to him, Roy, Alex, we got a problem. We just hit the highest stock market price ever. By the way, then, when I went in. Now, again,
it's higher.
With the war, it's higher than it was when I went in.
These people are like, hey, I can't afford gas. He's like, well, the stock market is very high. Yeah, but you fucking asshole. Like, half the country owns no stocks, and like 90% of people don't have a significant amount of stocks that it makes much of a difference if the market goes up. The stock market is an indicator of how the rich are doing, how the investment class is doing, how like the 1% are doing, at most top 10%. You can't be like, well, the stock market's doing well. Working people usually don't have investments, or certainly don't have many investments. The bottom 50% literally has no investments. This is so fucking out of touch. It's astonishing, bro.
The highest stock market price ever. By the way, then, when I went in. Now, again,
it's higher.
With the war, it's higher than it was when I went in. Think of that.
I agree.
The 401ks at their all-time high. There are more people working right now in the United States of America than at any point ever in the history of our country.
He's going to get so fucking clobbered, bro. It is so over. It's going to be too big to rig with shit like this. So they're saying, hey, we're struggling. Can you help out? And he's like, actually, things are amazing. Things are tremendous. And you're just sour grapes. Have you not realized the stock market? Did you look at the stock market? Oh, my word. Oh, my word. And by the way, they're only going to have that talking point for a little while longer because at some point, that shit's going to go belly up too, bro. At some point, that shit's going to collapse around us like nobody's business. Mike Johnson says Congress can't survive on $174,000. So as you struggle, this is what they're saying about their salary of $174,000.
Well, look, the salary of Congress has been frozen since 2009. When you adjust for inflation, a member of Congress today is making 31% less than they made in that year. It goes down every year. And over time, if you stay on this trajectory, you're going to have less qualified people who are willing to make the extreme sacrifice to run for Congress. I mean, it's just people just make a reasonable decision as a family on whether or not they can come and move to Washington, have a residence here, residence at home, and do all the things that are required. So the counter argument is, and I have some sympathy, look, at least let them engage in some stock trading so that they can continue to, take care of their family.
Oh my word. Oh no! Come on, son. He said that with a straight face. He said, look, they only make $174,000. They can't even fucking keep up with inflation. You got to let them do some stock trading so they can feed their fucking families, bro. They're making 174,000 DZACs. That is so much more than your average American. That puts them in the top 10%, bro. He's like, what are we supposed to do? They haven't had a raise since 2009. You motherfuckers haven't raised the minimum wage since 2009, and not a single Republican is lifting their finger to raise the fucking minimum wage. Not a single one. But you guys want to give yourselves a raise? Oh, no. Guillotines are about to roll out in this bitch, bro. I'm telling you, people cannot handle this shit. You are going to make people snap. You are going to make people snap. At some point, everybody's going to wake up and realize that the Republican trick of blaming trans people for all your problems and immigrants and black people and Muslims, that those are not actually the problem. The problem are the billionaires. The billionaires and the fascists and the warmongers are going to go down, and they're going to experience tremendous fury of working Americans who watch videos like this, and they fucking snap, son. They snap. All right, not done yet, though, because here's Lindsey Graham, the chief Trump ball coddler and semen slurper, and he goes out there, and he defends Trump. Remember when Trump said, I don't think about Americans' finances at all. I don't think about that at all. Well, here comes Miss Lindsey to defend this and act like, actually, he's totally right, bro.
Inflation has climbed to the highest annual rate in 3 years. Gas prices are at a 4-year high. Grocery prices are climbing. President Trump was pressed on how all of these factors impact how he views his negotiations with Iran. Take a look.
I don't think about American financial situation. I don't think about anybody. I think about one thing. We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. That's all.
Do you agree with the president that he shouldn't be taking?
You could literally see the fear in his eyes. Look at his eyes. You can literally see the fear in his eyes. Like, God damn it, Donnie, you really put me in a corner here. Now I got to use all my fucking bullshitting skills to try to tap dance my way around this. Here's Lindsey Graham thinking, I wish I was back in Disney World holding like a little magic wand, Tinkerbell's fucking magic wand, as he was caught doing, actually, by the way. That's what Lindsey Graham's like, oh no, even I'm going to have a hard time bullshitting my way out of this one.
Taking Americans' financial situation into account when dealing with Iran?
That's his Churchill moment. When Churchill came into power, he promised blood, sweat, toil, heartache until we deal with the Nazis, who are an existential threat to the British way of life. And if Hitler had taken charge of the planet, it would have been the darkest hour in humanity. I believe Iran wants a nuclear weapon. They would use it. So does President Trump. They would use it as part of their religious agenda. They would destroy the Jewish state. They would eventually hold us hostage. So his audience, the Iranian regime, do I worry about gas prices? Yes. But President Trump's right. The biggest threat to stability in the world is a nuclear-armed Iran. And whatever price we have to pay, we'll pay. What did Churchill say?
Nobody signed up for this shit. And you motherfuckers weren't saying you're going to have to sacrifice, it's going to be hard. None of you motherfuckers said that. You were acting like you be in and out fucking instantly. Okay? By the way, what's the difference? What's the difference? Well, I don't know. Hitler was actually an existential threat and was trying to do global domination. And Hitler and Winston Churchill was right to say, hey, he's trying to do global domination. He's a real threat. Whereas with Iran, they were no threat whatsoever, you lying con man. In fact, Iran agreed to the strictest terms to limit their enrichment hours before they were attacked by Israel and the U.S., a.k.a. the Axis of Epstein. So who do you think this works for? Who thinks you're telling the truth? Who thinks this makes sense? Absolutely fucking nobody.
Every price we have to pay to beat Hitler, we will pay. Same with Iran. The good news, we're inside the 10-yard line. I think if we go back to military activity, weaken them further, then we can end this thing pretty soon.
I got news for you. The better comparison, if you're going to compare anybody to Hitler, it's not the Iranians, bro. It's the Israelis, and it's us. Trump himself. What's he attacked? 8 countries already? And you're going to say, oh, Iran. Who have they attacked? Trump's already attacked like 8 or 10 countries. Who have the Iranians attacked offensively? Fucking nobody. This man's a sick, disgusting joke. Okay. Now, also at the same time, ready for this? Trump's $2 billion taxpayer-subsidized slush fund comes with a legal disclaimer that basically says we are not responsible for any crimes committed with this money. So understand what happened here, y'all. Trump sued the IRS. I always forget the number. What was it, 10 billion, 100 billion? I think it was 100. He was asking for a shitload of money from the IRS, his own IRS, saying, you leaked my tax information. That's illegal. That's an invasion of privacy. I'm going to sue you and take you to court. Then Trump's own IRS goes, oh, no, sir. I don't want to go to court. I don't want to fight this with you. Maybe we shall settle out. Okay, let's settle out of court. And then Trump's own IRS goes, well, what if I give you $1.7 billion instead of the $100 million you're suing me for? And you can take this $1.7 billion and basically do whatever the fuck you want with it. And you could basically make it a slush fund that pays all of your family, all of your friends, all of the January 6th insurrectionists. And Trump goes, I wanted the $100 billion, but I guess I'll have to settle for the $1.7 billion. Okay, you twisted my arm. We'll make that deal. So now Donald Trump, the sitting president, is currently looting the Treasury in a way we haven't seen ever in our history. This man is looting the Treasury. He also stole $10 billion, illegally, by the way, to fund his Board of Peace, which is supposed to be above the UN, and only he controls that money. In the same way, he kidnapped Venezuela's president, stole their oil, sold it, made hundreds of millions of dollars, and put it in a bank account that only he controls. Okay, this is what we're witnessing. We're witnessing a crime spree the likes of which we've never seen. All of this happening as you can't pay the bills. As gas is nearly $5 a gallon. Okay, as you're struggling to pay the light bill, as you struggle to afford groceries, as everybody's going, what the fuck? I can't afford anything anymore. And this motherfucker is swimming in money that he stole from American taxpayers and the people of Venezuela. And now he's going to pay the January 6th insurrectionists who assaulted cops, who committed crimes, who are literal terrorists. He's going to pay them for doing his fucking dirty work. This man needs to be locked the fuck up, bro. This man needs to be locked the fuck up. Here's a list of some of the people eligible to get payouts from taxpayers from the IRS slush fund that was just created. Ready? Sloppy Steve Bannon, Peter Navarro, Rudy Giuliani, Mark Meadows, Stuart Rhodes, Enrique Tarrio. This is a who's who of criminals. Sidney Powell, Jenna Ellis, John Eastman, Jeffrey Clark, Boris Epstein, Joe Biggs, and Walt Nauta. So it's a who's who of criminals. It's a who's who of con men and liars and frauds. And now they are going to rob the American taxpayer. When I say these people need to be locked up, oh boy, do I mean it. Oh, but they should thank me for saying that, because the reality is there's going to be a whole bunch of people to my left who say more should happen than just that. You understand what I'm saying? So you should be thanking your lucky stars that there's somebody like me out there saying you should be locked up. You should be charged, arrested, locked up, and they should throw the fucking key away, because this crime spree is unlike anything we've ever witnessed before.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out.
Yeah, okay, so there's a lot there. But I know it probably put a pit in your stomach about what's going on. And I hate to really, make people feel worse than they already do now about things. But at the same time, we can't hide from it, okay? There is things going on that's not helping this country at all. We don't have the right government in place in order to fix things. And a lot is going to hinge on November, I think, which is why the Republicans are running like crazy to redistrict and do all kinds of pre-cheating things here for the election to save their collective asses, because they know the people are not happy with them by a huge majority. Okay, the only people left are the wackadoodles on the right that call themselves MAGA. There's and even those numbers are dwindling. So there's a lot of anger out there right now, and people want to get revenge. Okay, people are going to want revenge. But like I said, even if things start to go the other way after November and we get Democrats back in control of the houses and stuff, there's no bright light that's going to happen the next morning after the election, okay? This is going to be damage we're going to have to deal with for years to come, okay? We got a lot of damage here to fix, and it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. And the Republicans are going to fight like hell to keep it the way it is. They're not going to want the Democrats to succeed at anything, because it takes away their approval. They'll look at Democrats and say, oh, Democrats are doing a good job. When they think of the Republicans, they'll only think back to the Trump era and how miserable they did their work. So they're going to do everything they can to try to trip up the Democrats, so that way they can't fix anything. And they're going to say, well, we can fix it. You know what I'm saying? So we have to hold fast to these times. So when the Republicans try to pull that shenanigan on us in the future, we have to remember these times and say, you know what? You had a fucking good chance. You had everything. You had the presidency, you had the Senate, you had the Congress, and you had the Supreme Court on your side. And you still failed. You brought the country to its fucking knees, and you still failed. And now you want us to vote for you again because you think now you can do better? I'm sorry, but how many times can you fool us anyway? How many fucking times? At some point, people are going to have to say enough is enough. You people need to straighten yourselves out as a political party. You need to clean out your fucking wackadoodles from your fucking party. Okay? And you need to start talking more about what you want to do for regular Americans instead of trying to cover the asses of the wealthy. When you stop talking like that, okay, then maybe we'll start to listen to you. But until you do, okay, you're going to be considered outcasts in the government forevermore. You're going to be outcasts. And as far as the Democrats go, if you don't start going back to the left, where you started, okay, people are going to start voting differently than you want them to do. They're going to be going after people who sound more progressive. All right? So you guys on the left need to bring your asses back to the left, instead of trying to be middle of the road, because that's gotten you nowhere either. All this time that you've been sitting on your ass allowing Trump to do what he's been doing, and you're not really pushing back much. Well, if we give you the Congress and the Senate this November, we expect results. We expect a return for the money. Okay? We expect that. And any good politician would understand that. So that's what I'm saying. We're this is crunch time. We don't have time for more games. We don't have time to play who's the most popular of the two. No. Okay? We're going to go with the person that's telling us what we want to hear, and actually will back it up with action. Okay? That's what we want. because we had the chance in 2024, but that didn't happen. We went with the bad choice instead, and look where we are. We should have learned our lesson when he was president the first time around, but we didn't. We had a chance to have a leader in there that we wouldn't be where we are today, okay? The prices certainly would not be where they are now for things, okay? So, like I said, this is crazy. You know, this November, it's going to be up to all of us. We have to come out, you know, in such a big number, you know, to vote that it won't be, that whatever they're doing to cheat ain't going to matter. Okay? That's the only way we can override the cheating that they're doing, is we come out in force in every number. I mean, everybody. I don't care, you know, about, oh, they're both parties are the same. If you think that, you're an idiot, okay? Because what the Democrats have accomplished and what the Republicans have accomplished over the history of this country, there's no comparison. Democrats have overachieved by a mile. Republicans have taken away, Democrats have brought to the table, okay? As simple as that. And in recent years in this country, the right wing only caters to the rich now, and they're not even ashamed to admit it, okay? So why should we want them? And with their little hands in our fucking system of government, you know? The government's supposed to be by the people, right? Not by the wealthy, not by the corporations, you know? But no, you see, they don't like it when they're asked to pay taxes on things, okay? Well, if we have to pay the taxes, why don't you? Okay? You're asking us, you're putting your tax burden on the rest of the working class in this country because you don't want to pay it. How fair is that? Can we reverse that and say, well, let's put our tax burden on the wealthy because we don't want to pay it? You see what I'm saying? How it's not fair if they can do that to us and we can't turn that around and do it to them. You know? It's so easy for them to cut corners and to avoid paying taxes and get away with it, Trump. Okay? But when one of us does it, oh, no. Okay, lock them up. Hook, line, and sinker. Put them all in there. Cuff them all. That's not fair. That isn't fair at all. If you're going to tax one group of people, you got to tax the others too. Everybody has to pay a tax. And it should be based on what kind of earnings you're getting. Okay? I mean, if the rich paid their fair share in taxes, you know, but right now, I don't think it would matter because Trump is spending the money faster than he's getting it, okay? And that should piss off everybody, rich or poor, because, hey, he's blowing it on things for himself is what he's doing. Ballrooms and fucking statues and shit that we don't need, but he's making us pay for it. You know, I don't know. It's just, these are very, very trying times to be an American right now, okay? And the rest of the world is watching because, like Kyle said, whenever our country does something and it ruins our country, it ruins other countries too because we're all connected here, okay? We're all connected, and that's why these other countries want to stop using the dollar, the American dollar, as a basis for their fucking economies. They just want to cut us out, period. They don't want to be attached to us in any way, and I can't blame them. Okay? They're trying to save their necks is what they're doing. They're trying to save their necks. And if I was these other countries that we owe money to or something like that, I'd say, okay, I'm calling in the marker. Pay up. What's Trump going to do then? You know, our economy will just simply disappear. You know, we'd be selling off chunks of our land to other countries. Come and buy this land, you know, come get this. You know, we wouldn't be able to do anything. We don't make anything. We've got nothing to offer. We've been buying from other countries for generations because I don't know why companies just decided, oh, fuck this, I'm not manufacturing a goddamn thing. Okay? So they've made it so that way people have to buy from other countries. Well, people need work in America. You think the rich would say, maybe we should start building some factories and making American-made stuff, you know? Maybe we should invest in that. With all the profits you're getting, you could build factories from Washington, D.C. to Los Angeles, California, okay? Why don't you invest back into the country? Do you realize you'd spark the economy to start roaring again and you'd be making money again? Okay? Instead of just sitting there watching the country dry up, you know, like a fucking martini, and not have anything. Just the money you made, and that will be all you'd have for the rest of your fucking life. Okay? No more profits, no more stock market. You might as well just lock your fucking doors to your businesses because there won't be anything going on, you know? So what are you going to do? You walk away with America's money. You know? I don't know. It's like the worst fucking thing that could happen to a country by letting the wealthy get away with what they've been getting away with the last century or so, okay? That's the worst thing that could have happened. Greed. It took us all. It took us all for a fucking ride. And I'll tell you, it's going to hurt bad. If what Kyle says is going to happen soon, the economy is going to crash. A lot of things are going to crash. You know, a lot of things are going to crash. And I'll tell you, if there's anything that's going to drive a fucking civil revolt against the government, that's going to be the thing that'll cause it. Okay? People are not going to just sit by and let it. They're already angry now. They're already angry now. But when that happens, that will be like dropping a match in a powder keg. That's it. The end. America will either change its ways or it will just disappear into history. And we will have a new government here. Okay? Because that's where we're headed right now. All right. I hope everybody has a great work week ahead of you. And subscribe, comment, and share. And keep your ears open for health issues. And please be generous and try to help as much as you can. If you can't give money, you can give of your time to help other people out. It makes you feel like you're being more productive. It helps you to feel like, you know, I'm not such a bad person. I can help somebody out and they're appreciative of it and everything. It's a good feeling. So try and do that. I'll talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye-bye.